Hi everyone and welcome, my name is Dora and this is my 7th update to Pan That palette. I am working on 2 palettes this year. I've got main one and a side palette, and I've got quite a decent update today, if I may say so myself. I have got 91 total uses on my main palette, which is the Revolution Kombucha Kiss palette, and I've got 33 uses in my side palette, and this is the Maybelline The Blushed Nudes palette. So let's talk about this palette here first. I'm gonna insert a picture now of what this looked like at my last update and talk you through the goals that I set for myself last time. So as you can see, there are 6 pans there, and my goal was to use every single shade with pan 3 times minimum. My goal was to use every single shade that still had under 10 uses as many times as it would take me to bring this up to 10 total uses within this project. And here is what my palette is looking like today. So I have hit another pan, woohoo! Over here in Blazing, of course, the tiniest one ever. And I do have to admit that once I hit that pan, I haven't worked on expanding this yet, but it's okay. Let's go through every single shade and I'll let you know how many times I've used them. And then after this segment, I will insert another picture where you can see the total amount of uses on this palette as of today. So starting with Chaos, this sort of, neutral matte shade here. I have used this shade 5 times. Smudging my nail polish. Energy, the yellow matte, I haven't used yet. Spice, I've used 3 times. Charcoal, another matte shade, I have used 5 times. And that meant that I hit my goal and I'm now at a total of 10 uses here. Light Up, my most used shade, I have used 44 times. I am filming this update a little bit late. I already filmed it a week ago and then I forgot to take pictures of both of the palettes and I continued using them, so I thought no. Plus it was like a bit wonky, like out of frame, so yeah, redoing it. So yeah, that's why there's 44 uses, because I just had that extra time. Heat, this sort of tan colored matte shade here, I've used that 4 times. Passion, the pink sort of satin, slight shimmery shade here, I've used that 3 times and that was my goal. Fiery here, so sort of reddish orange matte, I've used once and also thereby hitting my goal, so I'm now at a total of 10 uses. Blazing, in order to hit pan, I had to use it 9 times since my last update, and it took me a total of 24 uses within this project to hit pan. I know that I had at least 3 to 4 uses on this before, just because I had it on holiday with me last summer. Sizzling, the one with the biggest pan here, and this one already had pan when I started this Pan That palette. I used that 3 times, which was my goal. Rebel, another matte shade here. I'm just not like feeling these 2 mattes, actually, Heat and Rebel. They're just too warm leaning, but try to use them. I say that, I haven't used it at all since my last update, but yeah. Scorching, I've used 4 times, one of them being today, just very lightly dabbed on the sort of outer, not even the outer corner, but just like slightly off center of my lid. I've discovered that this is a pressed glitter. Even though it's a very fine milled glitter, it's still a dry formula. And yeah, like even just like using my finger and like using the tiniest amount, I can see that I'm starting to make some sort of progress. Heating Up, another one with pan, I have used 4 times, so my goal was 3 and I did 1 extra use on that. This is like a squishy shade. Yeah, it's got some kind of creaminess in there. Flames, another orange matte, but yeah, lighter, more yellowy than fiery. I've used Flames 5 times and thereby also hitting my goal of 10 total uses. All or Nothing, I completely ignored this past month, and the Dark Side, the brown matte, I have used once. So let's set some goals for next time. The first goal I want to set is to use Energy, the yellow matte shade, 3 times minimum. And I've got 2 ideas of how to use them thanks to your comments. One of the suggestions came from Louise, and she said, why don't you create like a sunset look with passion, fiery and energy? And so I definitely want to try that out. Like I've even put like a sticker on the back of this palette to remind myself to do that. And then more recently, Amy Melissa suggested using energy in the inner corner, but then like popping a light shimmer, maybe this one on top. So I definitely want to try that as well. So yeah, those are already 2 ways I can wear it. Maybe you can think of another one, or maybe you can think of another one, or maybe I'll even try it all over the lid. Yeah, we'll see. If I can remember, I'm going to try and take pictures of the looks and show them next time. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into doing that, but I always forget. My second goal is to use all of the shades with pan, so there's now 7 of them, 3 times each minimum. I quite like that goal, and I think I want to stick to that because it's always nice to see if there's some kind of pan expansion happening, perhaps. Maybe I can like even hit side pan and scorching. That would be kind of cool. I'm not actively trying, but yeah, it might be a nice little perk. And then finally, I want to set a goal for scorching, and I'm gonna aim high and go for 10 uses minimum on that one. I just want to see how much, there's definitely a dip in there, and I just like to see how much I could make that dip deeper with 10 uses. So I'm now going to insert a picture of the total amount of uses on this palette since the intro, and then we'll talk about my side palette. My side palette is the Maybelline The Blushed Nudes palette. I had 2 very simple goals for this palette this past month. And the first one was to use the first shade, so that white shimmery one in the top left corner, 10 times. And my second goal was to use shade number 6, so the top right corner shade, that brown shimmery one, 5 times. And here is what this palette is looking like today. So this shade here, I have used 15 times. So my goal was 10, and I managed to do an extra 5 thanks to refilming. The second shade here, I have used 5 times. Then this shade here, my goal was 5 uses, and I did exactly that, 5 uses. This shade here, the only one I've currently got with a side pan, I have managed to use twice since my last update. This shade here, I've also used twice, and then finally, the deepest and darkest shade here, I have used 4 times. At least from October onwards, I think very, very soon I want to try and empty some of these shades. So let's set some goals. I would like to use every single shade in here 2 times minimum. And then this first shade here, because this is the one that I have got the most use on, definitely with the biggest pan in here, I would like to try and use this 15 times minimum. Let's see how far I can get and how much I can expand that pan. I am already planning out and starting to think about my next Pan That palette for next year, because I definitely want to do another one. I do already have a selection of 5 potential Pan That palette contenders, and I'm wondering when it's too early to film that and upload it, because I'd love to hear your opinion. Which palette would you choose? Yeah, let me know. Is that something you'd like to see? Is that something you prefer seeing towards the end of the year? Because the closer it is towards the beginning of the year, aka my intro, that means I'm gonna 100% tally all of your comments and votes and go with whatever you've chosen. Whereas I'm worried if I post it in September, October, what if I change my mind? I don't think so. Because the way I normally make decisions is like it takes me a long time leading up to making that decision, but once I've made it, I really stick to it. So yeah, just wanted to talk you through my thought process here. Because personally, I can't wait to start a new Pan That palette. Not to say that I'm like running out of steam on these 2. I'm like really, because, well, for all of you watching who are also watching my Pan Those eyeshadows, and especially those of you who helped me with my focus palette decision and my last Pan Those eyeshadows update, And you know, like how I really, really, really wasn't feeling that color story anymore, or that palette. Like I've decided I'm decluttering it, even though, and I checked, like taking a massive hit to my pan percentage. Whatever, we'll cover that in the other series. But yeah, this palette, I think it's older than my Focus palette, but because it's cool toned, I'm really still into it. And with this one, because it is so summery, and then I think with these like bronzes and oranges, it's also like a really nice autumnal palette too. I'm not quite getting sick of it yet either. I don't think I am ever going to repress any of these. I'm just not into frankening or repressing powder shadows. I've tried a lot of times and it never works out for me. There's something about the moment when I repress and franken that it immediately makes me feel icky about the shade, whereas I love frankening lip products and frankening nail polishes. But I love watching all of your frankening videos and repress videos, but yeah, it's just not for me. I'm not into it. I'm not very good at it. But yeah, so this is the plan with this one, just to keep going until the end of the year, so that I would have worked on it for 12 months and then maybe let it rest for a little bit. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or night, wherever you are, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care, bye.